A lap time leaked out of a test nobody was meant to see. Closed gates at Brno. No media, no official clock, just engineers reading their own stopwatches inside the garage. And fourth on that sheet, 0.3 off the fastest bike in the building, sat a Yamaha, Toprak Razgatlioglu, the same bike Toprak has not cracked at the top 10 on all season, suddenly running with the front. For one closed afternoon, the project everyone had written off for him looked dangerous. So why are the people closest to Toprak quietly telling you not to believe a word of it? And what exactly did he feel on that bike that the rest of us missed? Understand what that one lap is worth to him, because it is close to everything he has left. Toprak did not stumble into MotoGP. He walked away from a winning superbike ride as a 3-time world champion, left a bike he could win on, and bet his whole reputation that he could do it at the top. Then the season happened. No podium, no top 10, a motivation that, by his own admission, had begun to drain away. A year ago, he was the most feared rider in superbike. Right now, he is a cautionary tale about leaving a sure thing. That leaked lap is the first scrap of evidence the gamble was not insane. It might also be the most misleading thing all year. Start with what the sheet actually showed, because the headline version is already wrong. That Brno test was the first time MotoGP's race riders got their hands on the new 850cc machinery, the smaller engines that replace the current 1000cc bikes in 2027. Just 8 of them, 1 or 2 per factory, ran it behind closed doors. Toprak posted a 1 minute 54.2. 2 Aprilias led the way at 1 minute 53.9, a Ducati right behind them. So yes, the Yamaha was fourth. It was also behind the same bikes that have beaten it all year, on a day built to flatter nobody. Here is what the screenshots left out. No official timing existed, so every number that leaked from that garage is a team's own version of events. 5 different tyre compounds were on the table, so 2 riders a tenth apart can be on different rubber. The bikes were prototypes, wearing whatever aero each factory bolted on that morning. Marquez crashed in the afternoon. Strip all of that away, and the honest version of the day was not Yamaha rising. It was Aprilia, again, looking like the team that understood the new rules first. The lap was real. The story bolted onto it was built on a stopwatch nobody can check. So if the result is noise, why does anyone inside the paddock still think Toprak has a future? Because his problem in 2026 was never raw pace. It is that this bike, on these tyres, will not let him ride the way that made him a champion. His whole style is built on braking later than physics should allow and holding the front edge of the bike through the corner. Take that away and you do not have a slow Toprak. You have a different rider wearing his name. The thing taking it away is the rubber. Toprak spent his entire career on Pirelli tyres in Superbike, and MotoGP runs Michelins. To him, the difference is not small. It is the gap between instinct and guesswork. Listen to how he described it this year. "It's the first time in my life that I've seen a bike slide on the straight," he said, still sounding genuinely confused months in. He talks about losing grip, about not trusting the front, about a rear that behaves in ways nothing in his racing life prepared him for. That is not a man who got slow. That is a man whose tools were swapped out from under him. And here is the detail buried under that leaked lap, the part almost nobody connected. The Brno test was not run on Michelins. It was the first official MotoGP test on Pirelli rubber, the exact tyres arriving in 2027. So when the screenshots showed Toprak fourth fastest, they were not showing a man who finally tamed the Yamaha. They were showing what happens the instant you hand the Pirelli master back his Pirellis. He was not fast because the bike got better. He was fast because the tyre changed back. Sit with that because it quietly rewrites the whole headline. That single fact reframes the entire season. Every slide, every Saturday buried outside the top 10, every Sunday spent climbing through traffic a champion should never see, was not a great rider declining. It was a Pirelli specialist forced onto the one surface that erases his gift. He has reached the fast qualifying group exactly once all year, because asking him for a single hot lap on a tyre he cannot trust is the cruelest test there is. the bike was never really his opponent, the tyre was. And the tyre is the one part of this whole motorcycle the sport has already voted to throw away. So let me say, the part the hype videos are dancing around. The thing everyone is calling Toprak's comeback has almost nothing to do with Yamaha. People think his hope is the factory finally building a bike that closes the gap to Ducati. It is not. His hope is a rule change he did not ask for and cannot control. In 2027, the entire grid switches from Michelin to Pirelli, the tyres Toprak already conquered. And that switch does for him what no engineer in Iwata has managed all year. The rulebook is saving him, not the bike. Even Toprak has admitted it, almost in passing. On Pirelli, he says, he would already know everything, but the Michelin tyres are completely different. Hear what that actually means. He is telling you the gap between him and the front is not talent and not the Yamaha. It is a rubber compound, and the sport is about to delete the exact compound hurting him. Jorge Lorenzo, who knows precisely what a tyre change does to a rider, put it flatly. He said Toprak will have a big advantage because he's been riding Pirellis his whole life. This was never a story about a Yamaha revival. It was a man waiting for the sport to hand him his weapon back, which would be a perfect ending if the rule change actually rescued him. It might not. Because here is where the hope runs into the fine print. The man who builds the 2027 tyres has already poured cold water on the fairy tale. Giorgio Barbier, Pirelli's racing director, was asked directly whether Toprak's history hands him an edge, and he allowed only that riders with more testing time will have a slight advantage. Slight, not decisive. The tyre maker himself is telling you not to bet the house. Then there is where Toprak actually sits in 2027, not in the factory Yamaha box. Those two seats are gone, to Jorge Martin and I Ogura. Toprak stays at Pramac, chasing the great reset on satellite machinery, and his own manager, Kenan Sofwoglu, has signalled the plan was always to keep him there. The bike that lit up the internet does not truly exist yet. Yamaha bet this whole season on an all-new V4, eyes locked on a 2027 reset, a smaller V4 and a rulebook that have never raced a competitive lap. So the honest verdict is this. Toprak's salvation was never going to be this Yamaha. It is the reset. One leaked lap brought him hope. Whether that hope is real depends on a tyre and a motorcycle that, today, do not exist. So that leaked lap was never proof the gamble paid off. It was proof of exactly what these Michelins cost him every single weekend. Brave career move, or the one that quietly ends him? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now